The cost of electricity in Florida is rising at more than double the pace of the national average. What's causing the price increases, and what can you do to protect you and your household? We're going to be answering those questions in today's video. Hi everyone, Joe Ordia here for Solar Surge, and for the past 9 years I've been helping families achieve energy independence using clean, renewable energy. Now, if you're new to the Solar Surge channel, on Solar Surge we talk about all things having to do with home solar power systems, battery backup systems, and even generator backup systems as well. We do a lot of product reviews and comparisons, as well as cover relevant industry news, particularly in the markets where we're doing the most solar projects. Now, in today's video, we're talking about the situation in Florida, and specifically getting into this question of why are electric rates rising in Florida faster than the rest of the country? Now, as many of you know, right now we are in a very high inflation environment, especially as it pertains to energy price inflation. And Florida has been particularly hard hit for a couple of reasons that I'd like to explain in today's video here. Now, the first has to do with the way the regulations are structured in Florida and what are called fuel surcharges. Now, you may notice that on your Florida electric bill, whether you're talking about Duke Power, JEA, FPL, TECO, but you may notice that a portion of your bill is what's known as a fuel surcharge. And what that means is that when the cost of fuels, specifically when the cost of natural gas goes up, the power company can raise your power bills accordingly. And since that portion of the bill is directly linked to fuel costs, they don't have to go through the normal regulatory approval process to approve a rate increase, right? Now, since these are publicly regulated utilities, there is a process here where the utility company is accountable to the state legislature through the Public Service Commission. And we'll talk more about the Public Service Commission here in a moment. But basically, they can't just willy-nilly raise the rates on you. However, they can use the fuel surcharge provision to increase a certain portion of your bill to match the rising fuel prices. And that's exactly what we've seen in Florida this year. With the price of natural gas nearly doubling from where it was last year, that portion of the bill, the fuel surcharge portion of the bill, has gone up considerably fast. And so some homeowners are reporting 50%, 70%, even 100% year-over-year increases in the monthly fuel surcharge. So again, if you're watching this from Jacksonville or Orlando or Tampa, then you know what I'm talking about. You've seen that portion of the bill go up accordingly. Now, the other problem that we're dealing with this year is the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. And as many of you know, especially if you're on the West Coast, the Gulf Coast of Florida, when Hurricane Ian made landfall, it caused a lot of damage to the West Coast of Florida specifically. And of course, a lot of this damage was done to utility infrastructure, to the electric power lines, substations, and all the things that we need to deliver usable electricity into the homes. And so the power companies came to the Florida Public Service Commission with a proposal to do some hardening, some upgrades, as well as repairs to the electric grid, totaling over $22 billion. In fact, if you look at the results here and the official report from the Public Service Commission, they've already approved a $22.6 billion proposal from the power companies to make upgrades and really hardening of the electric grid. Now, I should mention that the PSC did not approve the initial proposal from the power companies. There were a number of items in there that were deemed sort of just, routine utility operation and routine upgrades, and so they were not considered part of that storm response package. But when all is said and done, they did approve over $22 billion of improvements, repairs, and hardening to the electric grid. Now, the only problem with this is that all of this cost is going to be passed on to ratepayers in the form of higher electric rates. And that means that you're looking at over $1,000 of additional expense per Florida household to pay for all of these storm-related upgrades, and repairs. So that's one thing that's accelerating the rate of electric increase in Florida compared to other parts of the country. Okay, so what can you do about all this? We have fuel surcharges going up, we have storm-related repair costs going up, and by the way, we saw the exact same thing in Texas 2 years ago. You know, right after the deep freeze of 2021, we saw the Texas state legislature rush to pass a number of measures to upgrade, weatherize, and harden the electric grid, and then they just went ahead and passed all the cost on to ratepayers in the form of higher electric rates. And similar to Texas, when you look at Florida, or if you look at where rates were in Florida 2 years ago before all this started, Florida had some of the lowest electric rates in the country, and it also has some of the most abundant sunlight in the country, which is why we're seeing a lot of solar activity in particular in Florida. Because that's one of the best things that you can do to protect yourself from all these future rate increases, is to basically zero out your electrical usage by using solar power and taking advantage of Florida's generous net metering laws. Now, when we say net metering, what we mean is your relationship with the power company can become a two-way relationship. If you have solar panels installed on your home, not only can you produce your own electricity during the daytime and directly power your house on solar power during the daytime, you can actually bank up credits of extra solar power that you generate during daylight hours, so that even during the evening when you have to pull electricity back in from the power company, you've banked enough credits during daylight hours that it completely zeroes out the usage. So if this is something that you've been considering, and if you're looking at the numbers now, maybe comparing electric bills where they are this year versus where they were this time last year, and you want to get yourself out of this situation where you're just having to pay a constantly higher and higher rate of electricity, then consider the switch to solar power. We can still structure this. Financing options are still great for solar. And basically we can structure this in such a way where even if you don't want to put any money down towards the purchase of the solar system, we can set up a low interest fixed rate financing where your monthly payment to own the solar system is actually fixed at a lower rate than what your current monthly electric bill is. And of course with the solar, eventually you pay it off and you have free power. So folks, if this is something that you're considering for your home, looking at whether or not the solar investment is right for you, if you need to get a price quote, or maybe you already have one or two price quotes and you just need to get a comparison quote to make sure that you're getting the best deal, as always, feel free to reach out to us on the link below there. It'll just take you to our website where you can book a short Zoom call with one of our experts here, and we'd be happy to provide some specific information and pricing for your home. Folks, of course, if you're getting good value from the information that we publish on Solar Surge, be sure to give us a thumbs up on the video. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, so that, that way you can keep up with us as we have the new videos coming out. We try to get at least 1 or 2 or 3 new videos out for you every week. Well, folks, I thank you for taking some time to share with Solar Surge today. As always, I'm Joe Ordia here, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.